So I promised you guys a video on a specific topic, geocentrism. But this is Chicken Little Carnivore because I eat very little chicken. It's true, I do. I eat very little chicken. Geocentrism. Okay, geocentrism basically means, just in case you didn't know, that the Earth is basically the center and that everything revolves around the Earth. And that's exactly what we see, okay? But that's not what science tells us, all right? So heliocentrism, basically you're on a spinning ball floating in space with a whole bunch of other spinning balls floating in endless space, which is a vacuum, by the way. And we've already went over the fact that you can't have a gas next to a vacuum without a solid barrier. It's not possible. It's one of the laws of thermodynamics. I would challenge everyone to look into geocentrism. They call it flat Earth, but it's more level, okay? Level Earth, okay? Level, stationary, doesn't move, period. I don't know if you've ever been into a planetarium. I have when I was a lot younger. And guess what is in the planetarium? It's a dome, okay? There's a dome in the planetarium, and everything revolves around you in that planetarium. Everything revolves around you. So that's what I think we're in right now. I think there's a dome above us. The fact that okay, if you're a heliocentrist, if you're a ball believer, if you believe in the globe, you're a believer in the science, then you have a religion. Okay, honestly, that's a fact. People are so attached to their little blue ball. You take it. Here's an experiment for you. Go to any store that sells a globe. Pick it up and look at what it says on the bottom. I swear to God, it clearly says not for educational purposes. That's a fact. Not for educational purposes. So if you're a ball believer, you actually don't really know what you believe. You talk to anybody who's in the level Earth, in the geocentrism, flat Earth if you want, realm of the world, they know more about your ball than you do. That's a fact. You probably don't know that the math works out to 8 inches per mile squared. And what does that mean? Well, in real life terms, it means that at 100 miles, there's 66.6 feet of curvature. Well, that's an interesting number, isn't it? Yes, 66.6 feet at 100 miles of curvature. Yet the United States Navy has a rail gun that shoots a projectile on a dead level, and hits the target 100 miles away. Y'all, it ain't curving over the surface of a ball. Airline pilots, they fly an airplane, not an air globe. Okay, if they were flying at 500 miles an hour, they actually tilt their nose up when they're flying. Well, guess what? They don't make any adjustments to go over a ball. They don't. If you think somebody is standing upside down in Australia, I got news for you. They're not. Okay, there's not an engineer alive that builds bridges, that builds buildings, that builds railroads, that accounts at all for curvature of the Earth, because it just simply doesn't exist. So ball believer, you're at a magical tilt. Okay, the magical tilt of the Earth is 23.4 degrees. Well, what's a 90-degree angle minus 23.4? Oh, wait a minute. There's that number again. It's 66.6. Yeah, it's funny how that number just keeps popping up, right? Guess how fast the Earth is spinning at the equator, which means it's spinning at 0 at the poles. This is on a ball, okay? On the ball, the Earth is spinning 1,037 miles an hour at the equator. So if it's spinning 1,037 miles an hour, how can Felix Baumgartner jump out of a hot air balloon like miles and miles and miles and miles up there and then only land like just a little ways away from where he jumped? Well, what happened to the ball spinning 1,000 miles an hour? You ought to be able to take a helicopter up and hover it and land somewhere else. That doesn't happen because the ball isn't spinning, because there is no ball Earth. Okay, now maybe you say maybe you don't know that the Earth is supposedly going around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. Oh, wait. They round that up. Okay, the actual math that NASA comes up with is 66,666.6666667 thousand miles per hour. There's that number again. It's kind of weird that that same number keeps popping up in their math. Okay, now that apparently the sun is dragging the planets along at like 500,000 miles an hour, and apparently the whole galaxy is going over 1,000,000 miles an hour. Yet large bodies of water at rest lay flat and level. I'm a carpenter by trade. I don't use a globe, okay? I use a level, okay? A level. I use a plumb bob to check plumb. Plumb means this way, level means this way. Is any of this too hard for you to figure out? That you've been lied to. You've been lied to about the food. You've been lied to about history. You've been lied to about the very nature of where you live. There's Eric Dubay. I kind of like him a little bit. But he's like, the father of the modern day flat earth. And he just went through old books and said, wow, we've been lied to. And he went through the Bible. He's got 200 proofs out of the Bible that we live on a flat, stationary plane. It doesn't move, people. It doesn't. Okay? And according to the flat earthers, I wouldn't know. I don't know. I do know what I see with my own eyes. I know that if you point a telescope at a certain star, and then you fix that telescope in place so it does not move, 1 year later to the day, that exact same star will be there in the telescope. I know that Polaris, the North Star, it never moves, ever. It stays put. Time-lapse photography has shown that Polaris stays put. It doesn't move. Everything revolves around Polaris, and everything revolves around us. The Earth is a perfect time clock. All right, 28-day moon cycle. We're supposed to have 13 moons, not months, not 12 months. We're supposed to have 13 moons on the old lunar calendar. They have changed everything. They have altered everything. They've added probably 1,000 years to our timeline just to cover up the past. Make the past seem like it's 1,000 years further than what it really is. My Lunch Break, he does a lot of that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. Good channel to watch. So, if you're a ball believer, these are the things that you believe. You believe this stuff because you were indoctrinated to believe it. You were told from a very young age, this is how it is, and that's what you believe. It amazes me that you've got Christians who their Bible talks about the firmament. Right there in Genesis chapter 1, man, it talks about the firmament. But guess what? They can't let go. They just simply cannot let go of the ball. My brother-in-law swears up and down he saw the curvature from on top of a mountain. No, you didn't. Because there's long distance photography. Long distance photography. I think the record right now is like 700 miles with infrared. 700 miles flat, just as flat as can be. There's amateur balloons that have went up 120,000 feet. 120,000 feet. It's just as level as you can possibly imagine. Take the moon and the sun, for instance. They say that the moon is 238,000 miles away, and the sun is 93 million miles away. And the reason that they look the same size in the sky, they're not the same size, people. Just come on, get over it. They're not the same size. The sun is actually 400 times bigger, 400 times bigger, and 400 times further away. That's why they appear to be the same size in the sky. Just trust the science. Okay, the numbers don't lie. Trust the science. Right? Isn't that what they said about the jabby jab? Trust the science. People unlifing like a motherfucker all over this flat earth. Trust the science. Right? So I don't know what the nature of this reality is, but I do know one thing. The longest standing treaty in the world, that every country is on board with, the longest standing treaty in this world, and that says that you can't travel past 60 degrees south. That's it. No independent travel to Antarctica, because they don't want you to know that you're living inside a closed system. There's nowhere to go. This is it. Now, there might be other lands outside of this ice wall, because if you just use it's Hebrew cosmology. Just look up Hebrew cosmology on Google. You'll see a picture. And the picture shows a dome with an ice wall all the way around it and a flat stationary earth. Look at the Gleason's map from late 1800s. It's practical, and it clearly says on the map, as it is. This is where you live. And you say, well, why does that matter, Chicken Little? Why does any of that matter? Who cares if we live on a ball or a globe? Who cares? I still got to get up and go to fucking work tomorrow. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, I would say they're hiding the Creator. Do I think it's Yahweh of the Jews? No, I don't. No, I don't at all. But the Bible does seem to be pretty clear on a lot of flat earth issues. No doubt about that. But it's not really... I don't know, man. I think, a little off subject, but I think any God that requires you to worship them is a very petty, small-minded, childish God. You know what I'm saying? You know, God's going to grant me the lottery, but won't take care of a kid that's starving. You know, a kid that's got cancer, won't heal him, but he'll grant me the lottery because I prayed for it. Just shit like that just pisses me off. Do I think God cares about all of creation? Yeah. Does he separate us from the animals? Maybe, but I don't really know. I think I've gone far enough today, but just understand that it's not just the food that they're lying to you about. It's not just history that they're lying to you about. They're lying to you about the very nature of your reality. And that's a fact. It's Chicken Little. I'm out.